PBC is proud to bring you the Fall Tour. 5 of the next 6 weeks, we'll be bringing you the action of the PBA, and this afternoon, we're in Rochester, New York. The PBA Fall Tour is sponsored by Kodak Film. There's no better way to picture your life. By Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By AMF, sponsor of the AMF Black Angle Sweepstakes. Details at participating pro shops. And by True Value. He's a little high again. He's been high over on 34 on a couple of occasions. He leaves the 610.
And Purvis is basically having the same problem Mike's having, except that Mike gets more on the ball anyway. Now, Purvis, you can see the ball. Watch how soon it starts to roll away. Way too soon. He wanted the ball to skid farther, and he's had trouble, as you mentioned, Jay, on this lane 4 times now.
Ooh, and more trouble. He's open here. Granger finds himself in a hole down 11. I mentioned this is his 2nd year on tour.
Now, all the players that I talked to before the telecast said the lanes were hooking more today, and the problem is that there's only a certain place on the lane that you can play. If you're left-handed, you're going to be out around the 5 board. If you're right-handed, you're going to be between the 5th and 10th board. The problem is because the lanes are hooking more, they need more ball speed. That was a great shot.
Strike in the 3rd for Granger. Albee up by 11.
Most good players can adjust their ball speeds, Jay. The problem is that when they try to throw a little bit too hard, they lose control. They can't be consistent. When they lose consistency, that's when you get the big splits and the tough spares.
Albee very consistent this week all the way through. He was 7th or better. Finally ended up in the number 3 spot.
Well, let's see what kind of adjustment Mike can make now. It's very important that he make a good adjustment early in the match before Purvis gets a good start and gets too relaxed. A little more speed.
So a strike in the 3rd for Albee. Up by 11 pins. Mike does a lot of work with the young bowlers in the Indianapolis area.
You can see a lot more effort into that shot. He really was a little quicker to the foul line, got more ball speed. The next adjustment, if that ball had hooked on him, would have been to actually loft the ball out in the lane a little farther, to delay the roll, get it farther down the lane. Mike's making good adjustments, and that's experience. That shows up right there. The experienced player making the correct adjustments. Purvis is going to have to do basically the same thing on lane 34.
Another strike for Albee. A 21-pin lead for Mike Albee. He'll be back with more after this. The 5th and getting the spare. While we were away, Granger was high again on lane 34, but he got a strike anyway.
He crossed it over, and he's trying to get more ball speed, Jay, and it's very obvious that he's trying that, but he's actually losing the ball off his hand. Whether his hands are perspiring too much or whether he's just out of time by trying to get more ball speed, I'm not sure, but he is losing the ball off his hand, and when you do that, anything can happen.
Albee going for 3 in a row. Well, he got a break. And he's a very happy bowler, Mr. Albee.
And what a great reaction. That's one of those, hey, now we're even, partner.
Yeah, that's true.
You got one, I got one.
They average out, don't they?
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes.
You never feel like you get even, Jay.
No. Albee has the lead. Mike's just 5'8", 160 from Indianapolis, Indiana. His average this year, 216.6, his 3rd on tour. High game this week was 279. He brought that one from way out.
He sure did, and Mike Albee is a lot like a left-handed Pete Weber as far as the arc of the ball. They both try to get the ball well down the lane and break it very sharply on the back, and that's why I felt that Mike might have trouble carrying the 7-pin today, but he's been fortunate to have the ball hit half pocket. As you see this one, the 5-pin go into the 10. That's power. That was the best shot Purvis Granger has made on lane 34 since early in his first match against Pete Weber. He got that one out in front of him well. He didn't lose it off his hand. He had good firm ball speed on it, and that's what he needs if he's going to have any chance at all in this match against Mike Albee. He needs good speed and good launch in the ball. He has to delay that break point, Jay. He has to get it well down the lane.
Granger is 1-3 in TV finals. He's behind his last year earnings mark of 34,970. A chance to make up for that today. A lead of 33 pins for Mike Albee here in this second match. We'll have more in a moment. They have over 50,000 employees here in the Rochester area, and over 10,000 of them are in bowling leagues.
I like to hear that, Jay. As being a bowling proprietor, that sounds great.
Well, Kodak, of course, has been allowing us to keep memories for many years, and we'll have some magic memories here this afternoon. Hope you're enjoying the sights and sounds of the fall tour on NBC. And Albee leaving the 2-4-7. Well, to point out, he's had 3 re-racks already in this match.
He has, and that means that's all he's allowed, Jay. So if the pins are off spot, Mike's going to have to shoot them as they stand. See how hard, look at the sharp break on Mike's bowling ball on the back end of the lane there, and that starts on the first part of the lane. Because the ball gets too much friction, as I said earlier, it starts to roll too soon. It creates that sharp break on the back, and you lose control. Tough spare, cross lane. He's going to play this down the left side of the lane, make it even tougher.
I got it.
Boy, he got it. Yeah.
Just did.
That's why they paint those pins.
30-pin lead for Albee. (18 300 games this year. He's had 3. His last 300 game was in the Hammer Open Boulevard Bowl earlier this year. Four-pin is standing for Albee here in the 8th frame.
Now, again, obviously the ball's hooking too soon and it's hooking too sharply on the back. Mike is going to have to make an adjustment. It's either going to have to be he's going to loft the ball farther out in the lane, or he's going to have to find a different place on the lane where he can get a good ball reaction. And that's what really the last resort. He doesn't want to move out of the area of the lane he's playing, out around the 5 board, because all week long he's never been able to play anywhere else, so he wouldn't have any confidence. He wants to stay where he's confident, but he's not really sure how he's going to keep it on the left side of the head pin yet.
Mentioned he was 53rd here last year, and in '85, of course, when he was Bowler of the Year, he finished 4th. Last year, Granger made 3 TV finals, finished 3rd in Tucson. That's a good looker there.
That's the best ball he's thrown in both the games he's bowled so far, Jay, and he's getting a little confidence because he sees Albee's in trouble.
He has a chance for a possible 236.
Good concentration. You can see by the expression on his face, he knew he had rolled the ball well, and he projected it well down the lane. That's what keeps the ball in play, the good projection. If you set it short, it hooks too soon. Setting it short meaning getting it on the lane surface too quickly. The ball gets friction too soon and it hooks too soon. Let's see if he can repeat that last shot.
Granger in the 9th, taking his time, lane 33.
A little short again. There it goes.
Oh, he got a break.
You could actually hear the ball hit the lane, Jay, when he set it short.
Yep.
And he knows he was lucky. He doesn't understand why he got away with it, but I'll tell you what, the look on his face is, oh my. As soon as he lets go of this ball, watch the expression on his face. He knows it's going to hook, and he's thinking, oh no. You can see it in his eyes. And he got it to cross over, and he feels very fortunate. Mike Albee right now is thinking, now he's one up on me on the crossovers. Maybe I'll get lucky and get one back.
And Albee with a possible 245. This crowd warming up as these two are putting on quite a show.
They're in a situation now where Purvis Granger has a possible 236. He's already bowled through 9 frames, as you know. Mike Albee needed that strike in the 9th to have any chance at all to shut Purvis Granger out. Now he can go at 245. If he gets the first 2 hits in the 10th, he's a winner. If he gets the first one, Purvis Granger's still in the match.
This is Albee's 6th appearance in the TV finals this year. Made the finals at the Firestone. And Mike Albee in action.
Very fortunate here. Mike lost his concentration. Something bothered him in the background. Again, I think it's the noise from the other side of the bowling center. And he wasn't happy with the release, and he feels very fortunate. Watch the pin action. Very fortunate that he carried the corner pin, especially the 10 pin, on that type of a hit. This is the key shot for Mike. Right now, if he strikes, he's a winner. If he doesn't, Purvis Granger could strike out in the 10th and win the match. Way wide.
Oh my, he's got a problem. That just stayed out there.
Right now, the pin count, which was very important to that shot, it really doesn't make any difference what he does on this spare. Purvis Granger has to strike to win. You can see Mike did try to make an adjustment. How wide that ball was, almost in the channel. As a matter of fact, Mike did throw 10 balls in the channel this week during the competition. In 42 games, he had 10 balls go in the channel.
Oh, what a conversion. That's the shot of the afternoon. The veteran with a very, very important shot.
Well, now, all right, as you see that Mike converting that spare, the spare really wasn't that important. He was very relaxed on it, and he was just showing off, Jay.
Oh, yeah, he's showing off, is right.
This is the shot. To win, Purvis Granger must strike on this ball.
Looking good.
All right, you're still in a match now.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Mike Albee finished with 232. Purvis Granger with this strike will be in the 230s. Possible 236.
Ernie Schlegel there in the background, the president of the PBA Tour players.
And Ernie is a very conscientious president. He is very much involved in what's happening with the PBA. Now, this is what we're here for, Jay. A professional bowler needing a strike to win the match.
And he was high.
And he was
fighting that high shot all day on that lane. Albee is the winner.
Good match, Jay. It was very exciting. Came right down to the last ball. That's what we like to see.
So it will be Purvis Granger picking up $6,500 and finishing 4th here, as Mike Albee will have a chance to advance, and he will be going up against Marshall Holman. The left.
Okay, Albee on top. He's going to start the match, Jay, and both players that last match struggled more on lane 34 than they did on 33. Holman has chosen to finish on lane 33. He figures he's got a better shot there.
That 7-pin wouldn't go.
And the look on Mike's face explains it all. He just doesn't understand what's happening out there in the lanes. He felt he made a good shot. The ball, as you can see, watch the reaction. See how quickly it's rolling and how sharply it's breaking. Much more than Mike expected. He really was comfortable when he released the ball, and everything went bad. Look at the look on his face. He just doesn't understand it. Excellent coverage. You know, when the best players in the world get confused on a pair of lanes, they can look like anybody else, Jay, out there. Any league ball that you see that's struggling, there's no difference except that they tend to adjust a little bit quicker than the amateur does.
Wonderful fella, Frank Formicola, the tournament chairman, does so much wonderful work in this area for the bowlers of all ages. Marshall Holman qualifying second. Tournament average. Now he has got some problem that he's not pleased with.
One of Marshall's problems over the years, as great a player as he is he's almost intensely aware of anything that might distract him. Maybe too much so. I think it's hurt his ability to win on television.
Oh, that was a little high and not a good start. There is Marcel Fournier, the proprietor of the Olympic Bowl and one of the leaders in bowling activities in this part of the United States. And here's Holman.
Marshall is, now this ball he's using, this is the first time he's used it in competition. He feels he needs a ball that will not hook as much as the one he used earlier. And again, as I mentioned, the lanes are hooking more today. And the players are having trouble controlling it. Cross lane, a lot of ball speed. And he's not very happy, Jay.
Not happy at all. He's open. And Holman, who came from 80th after the second round of play here to be second, from Medford, Oregon, his 13th year on the tour. He won here 2 years ago when he defeated Amleto Monticelli in the championship.
Marshall's still upset about some kind of a movement to his right, and he feels that his first shot was interrupted by someone moving.
Again, he's high.
Again, he's high. He has lost his concentration already, Jay. The first 2 shots of the match, and he's already upset. You can see the look on his face. He just, it's such an important thing for Marshall to maintain his stability emotionally. And as you can see, it's just gone right now. He's very upset. He just lost control of himself, and it's only the second frame. Let's watch his reaction, whether he makes it or doesn't make it.
Oh, well, now that should pick up a little bit of momentum for him right there. There's Terry Chouinard, Mr. Holman's girlfriend, companion. She's always here rooting for him.
What a great shot this was. It really is going to make a difference in how Marshall makes his next shot because he picked up that spare. It will calm him down a little bit, and he'll be a little more confident now. Chance for Albee to get out front early against one of the greatest players that's ever played the game, Marshall Holman.
A little problem for Mike Albee. His money total in '85, you may remember, broke Earl Anthony's single-year mark, 164,000 plus, set in '81.
Yeah, Mike went over. He was the first bowler to ever earn over $200,000 in a year throwing a bowling ball, and he's going to do a lot of that, Jay. He's just a great player. As we said earlier, we're very fortunate. Our first telecast on NBC's Fall Tour, we have 3 of the best players on the tour, all on the telecast. Marshall Holman and Mike Albee.
And we ought to mention also that Mark Roth was forced to withdraw from the match play because of a sore thumb.
I told him, Jay, if he would learn to release the ball properly, he wouldn't have that problem. He didn't think that was very funny, though.
Well, he's on the verge, of course, of topping your PBA career money leading stat.
Well, he's a great player. He'll do that, and so will Marshall and several other players. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Marshall Holman, who probably will bowl for another 8 to 10 years, go over the $2 million mark. All right, Mike Albee's got a 9-pin lead, third frame. Oops. Now, that wasn't a distraction so much as he had problem with his grip. He looks like maybe he got a little sweat in the thumb hole, and he thought he was going to drop it, so he did the right thing, set it down, start over, get his concentration back, and make a good shot. Both of these players are so explosive. Their bowling balls hit so hard, they throw strings of strikes that are unbelievable. They don't want the other one to get going before they do. They may never have a chance to catch up.
And he splattered those.
He did, and that's the best hit for Mike Albee on the lanes right there. He'll carry that hit better than he will the solid hit because of the sharp break on his bowling ball coming in so late and behind the head pin. If it's solid in the pocket, again, I feel he'll leave something like a 10 or a 7 pin. Let's see if Marshall has calmed himself down and start making the kind of shots he's capable of.
There we go.
That
Holman.
looks like Marshall, doesn't it?
He had the high game of the tournament here this week at 290. And he has the top average on tour this year, 218.02.
And we have, as I mentioned, those 3 players. They are the top 3 averages on the tour also, Jay.
That's right. A little high. Holman leaving the 3-6-10.
He was afraid to look, Jay. He turned his back when he released the ball. He knew it was going to go through the middle of the head pin. And as you can see, he's getting a very sharp break. Even though this is a brand new bowling ball, the lanes are hooking very much on the back. The ball went through the middle of the head pin. He wouldn't even look. Look at his, oh, I didn't split. Thank you. But it's a difficult spare going cross lane. All right, well done.
Albee leading by 9. We'll be back with more of the Kodak Invitational from Rochester, New York in just
got away again, and it's amazing that they haven't made the, I just can't believe that a bowler of Mike's caliber hasn't made the adjustment. Here's the spare in the previous frame. Mike went high on the nose again, and look at this. Chopped him off,
left the 2-4-8 and left that 4, didn't he?
He did, and that opened him up, and he's down to it. And now it's a 3-pin deficit for Mike Albee in his 5th frame. And he almost had the 5-7 split, as you saw, leaving only the 7-pin. Mike's going to have to make some adjustments very quickly so he can get the ball in the pocket area, or Holman's going to be long gone.
Holman is up by 3. And let's see if he is ready to try and take command in this match. His 6th appearance in the TV finals this year. Was the top seed in Miami, but lost to Walter Ray Williams. He strikes here.
Marshall's doing all right on 34, Jay, but he's struggling a little bit on 33. The important thing for Marshall, and he chose to finish on 33, which means he'll bowl his 10th frame there. The important thing for Marshall is to find a shot on 33. If he doesn't do it soon, as I mentioned, both players are so explosive. A string of 4 or 5 or 6 strikes in a row by either one can be expected at any time.
Mentioned that he seems to carry a monkey on his back regarding TV appearances. His career TV record is 49-67.
Sounds like the Cubs. Marshall made a great adjustment here. A great adjustment.
That's a big plus for him.
The reaction of Marshall Holman pumping himself up. Now, watch the ball. He played farther inside on the lane, more toward the center of the lane, arced it out more, made a great reaction on the lane. Now watch Marshall. He knows he's delivered a great shot. The very flamboyant Marshall Holman. That's a word I learned from you, Jay.
Flamboyant.
Yeah.
Nice word. Albee comes right back.
And that's where he has to hit him,
warming
right
to the task now.
That's where he's got to hit him, right there, light in the pocket.
Albee's down by 13. Look at this. As he knew that was very important for him. He's asked for a re-rack here. That's his 2nd.
Now, Mike has, on that shot, he made a different release. By that I mean, now, if the ball is spinning on the lane, it goes farther before it grips the lane, much like a tire on ice. If you roll it end over end, it tends to grip the lane earlier. In Mike's previous match and the first part of this one, he was rolling the ball basically end over end. That ball, he had more side spin and went farther before it gripped the lane. Let's see if he does it on 33. A minor change in release, major change in how the ball reacts. There it is. Didn't quite get back. He's trying to get around the ball. Watch his hand release. As he comes around the side of the ball, Jay, he's getting more side turn on it, trying to delay the break.
And he left the 3-9. Pete Weber finishing 5th. Purvis Granger 4th. Now Albee and Holman. And the loser of this one gets $8,000. The winner moves on to the championship. And of course, as always, an NBC Sports tradition, uninterrupted coverage of the final game.
Wants to get both pins with the ball.
Didn't do it.
Didn't do it. He was afraid he'd just get the front one, and all he got was the back one, Jay. chance for Marshall to pretty much put the match away if he strikes in the 7th and 8th frame.
He is up by 25, and he can take a giant step forward.
Dangerous fascination.
Do you know if a personal life
leads to dangerous emotions?
I think I did this.
He's left the 3-6 here in the 8th. Today setting a record for the most $100,000 years on tour. This is his 7th.
He could do that forever the way he bowls. This is a difficult spare. He's going cross lane, good ball speed. Wants to knock the hook on the back, and it doesn't. Marshall, one of the better spare shooters on the tour also.
Well, Albee finds himself down by 33. He's
Match
bowling now.
not over though, Jay.
No, not over.
Not over. It's Marshall Holman going at a 207 pace right now. Albee, and as I mentioned, is very capable of stringing 4 or 5 strikes, as all of you know. Could shoot 204, but he needs them all. That was a great camera angle. You could see the rotation of the ball. And there's our NBC cameraman right down there getting a good shot of it. You could see the rotation of the ball, a lot of side turn, as I mentioned, trying to get the ball well down the lane before it would break, and he did, but he got it too far down. And see the ball rotating sideways? Spins a lot way too far down the lane, never gets back to the pocket. Same spare he missed in the 7th frame. Difficult spare. Sometimes the adjustment is to get too much of the front one now. See how he handles it. All right.
$27,000, the first prize here this afternoon. Mike Albee down by 33 to Marshall Holman. The winner, of course, going up against the man who qualified first, Scott Devers, young man from Centerville, Indiana.
Well, he got the ball up solid in the pocket that time, and as we expected, he would leave the 7 on that type of hit. He had to keep the ball light in the pocket, and it's what he was trying to do when he kept leaving the 3-9, which he did in the 7th and 8th frames. Mike is really making very good shots, just not getting quite the ball reaction he expects. All the players are struggling. The lane condition a little different today. But they're capable of adjusting, Jay, and that's what we expect them to do, and I'm sure Marshall will get it going here very shortly.
Well, he has a 34-pin lead. Holman set to go in the 9th. Last evening, I had the pleasure of joining Roger Morrison, the Director of Media Communications for Kodak, and Eddie Elias, the man who helped found the PBA. We had a wonderful evening here. A strike for Holman.
Yeah, Marshall is in command. He knows it. Now he's going to relax. And actually, Marshall, at this point, this could be the best thing that could happen to him going into the championship match. Having an insurmountable lead at this point, he can relax and just work on his timing, get comfortable on the lanes, and he's going to be very tough for Scott Devers.
Marshall told me last evening, Earl, that he's really practiced very, very little over the recent weeks.
He had an injury to his wrist, Jay, where he was carrying a box into his home, and he tripped and fell and caught himself with his right hand, and he was afraid he had broken a bone in his wrist. But fortunately, it's healed now, and he feels very good.
And he certainly has come full circle confidence-wise in the last 10 minutes here.
He has, and again, the mercurial emotions of Marshall Holman, the ups and downs in just the last 15 minutes, from utter despair and just feeling like the world was against him to now being the more aggressive and talented Marshall we all know.
So Albee will finish in the number 3 spot and pick up $8,000. And Holman will get his shot at Devers as they'll battle for the top prize of $27,000.
And a very disappointed Mike Albee. Mike was feeling very good about his chances to win today, I know, and just didn't go his way.
A strong, strong finish for the man from Oregon.
The Medford Meteor.
Mom! Albee, Jay Randolph along with Earl Anthony, and Holman finishing with 4 strikes, 8 in that match.
And again, his emotions are very, very obvious, Jay. It's very easy for Marshall to get down on himself and then come back and get everything going and be very aggressive and pull a match out as he did against one of the best players we have on the tour, and Mike Albee.
One of the things we always like to do when we have the opportunity is to pick the brains of this Hall of Famer right here.
Now, Scotty Devers isn't going to be affected as much by the change in the lane conditions as the other players. You'll get a chance to see him bowl in a minute. Marshall Holman is starting the match. Scotty Devers has chose to finish on lane 33. Marshall has made a major adjustment on lane 33. That lane is hooking more for him. He's moved more to the center of the lane, and he's more confident now that he can make good shots.
Well, that's a good way for Holman to begin. You know, Earl, there have been 25 different winners in 30 tournaments this year. I think that shows the competitiveness out here.
It definitely does. A lot of great young players on the tour, and here's one of them in Scotty Devers. He's a one-time champion. He won earlier this year. Now watch this arm swing, folks. Very unique. His forte, obviously, is being very, very accurate. He doesn't turn the ball much. He doesn't hook it much, but he's always in control.
Scotty has left the 8 pin. He qualified first with that 219.07 average. 5th year on tour. Captured his first PBA title in Tucson on the summer tour. He's been having some thumb problems. He said last night his thumb's like a hamburger.
Oh, my. Well, that's typical of somebody that's bowling 100 to 150 games a week. That'll happen. Scotty is obviously, again, by virtue of his accuracy, one of the better spare shooters on the tour, especially among the left-handers. But if you watch his style of play, you always see he'll lay the ball down early on the lane and try to get it into an end-over-end, a forward roll up to the pocket. Very seldom you see him arc the ball away from the pocket area. Doesn't like that.
Oh, what a big break. Got a kickback.
Oh, my. And that's the kind of thing that could make Marshall Holman change his attitude. If he doesn't strike on this one, gets a bad break, a 10-pin, a 4-pin, it'll change Marshall's attitude about the whole match. Now watch Scotty go to the foul line and see him come up with the line. Look at that. That's what makes that ball cross over. Got a little fast with his feet and actually yanked the ball across the head pin.
Attacking on lane 34 is high and a split.
All right, now he's thinking, Scotty got away with his. I got the bad break. Scotty actually threw the ball a little more wild than Marshall did. Marshall's was closer to the pocket. Scotty got the strike, the good break. Marshall got the big split, the bad break.
Going for the 4, 6, 7, 9, 10.
Almost picked it up.
Yes, he did almost pick it up, and it was fine effort, but Holman finds himself open here. Cashed in 17 of the 19 events that he has bowled this year. Back on track on lane 33. Devers with a 12-pin lead in the early going. This final match uninterrupted. An NBC Sports tradition for you. Devers 17-7 in match play this week, but he was only 3-5 last night. He was hoping, Earl, as he leaves the 2, that his thumb would heal a little bit. He said, as I said, it was really kind of mushy.
And that'll make the player wince a little bit when the ball reaches the bottom of the swing, and it could help him get in trouble by tugging the ball a little bit. Scotty right now is just rushing the foul line, and again, his strength is in his accuracy. If he gets a little fast with his feet, that diminishes from his ability to keep the ball in the pocket area. Scotty very seldom will beat himself. we almost always have to go out and get Scotty. You can't afford to give anything away to him. He's very difficult to beat in match play. Makes very few mistakes.
Devers only weighs 145 pounds. I think this fivesome we've had here this afternoon indicates you don't have to be big and strong to get the job done on the lanes.
He lost another shot there, Jay. He's just, again, the lane changed drastically today, the surface. Obviously, the players are having trouble keeping the ball in the pocket area. It's hooking more for him, but it shouldn't affect Scotty's ball quite as much as the other players. I think Scotty's just a little tentative right now, and he's really trying to fit the ball, and he's rushing his feet a little bit. Again, he's a very good spare shooter. This to be cross lane for the 4-7. Keep in mind that this championship match means more. It means obviously a lot to anybody to have a chance to win a PBA title, but it means more in a lot of different ways to Marshall Holman. An opportunity to get into the Bowler of the Year race, the most important thing in his mind for his career.
Got to hurry, and it did. Well, you know, no one has won 2 matches today. Marshall's got that chance. Oh, look at him. Number 1, yes, sir. He's beginning to feel it, isn't he?
He is, and the key for Marshall Holman, I honestly feel this. I've known Marshall since he was about 16 years old. He's changed very little. The key for Marshall is to control his emotions. We've said it many times, but if he doesn't do that, he tends to beat himself. If he can let it out in a positive fashion, he becomes very aggressive and he's difficult to beat. If it gets negative, he'll beat himself.
He's gone for a re-rack here in the 5th frame. Holman the Bowman is rolling now.
He is. He might disappear out of the building. He gets a couple more strikes.
Camera's having a tough time finding him there.
Let's see now. The important thing as you see Marshall Holman's ball going in. Very great shot by Marshall. And the reaction of Marshall. He's got more dance steps than you and I put together, Jay. The important thing for Scotty right now is to get himself back together. He's got to make an adjustment. He's got to slow those feet down and get the ball out in the lane so he's not setting it short and pulling it. Better shot. That's what he wanted. A little slower foot. He's got to get his feet a little slower, and he did. He was much better balanced at the foul line that time. Got the ball out in front of him and on the line he wanted. Good ball speed there.
There has been at least one left-hander in the TV finals of each of the 3 Kodak Invitationals. Of course, today we had 2 involved in the finals this afternoon. Devers and Mike Albee, who finished 3rd, winning $8,000. Went. And
what a great shot, Jay. What a great shot. Look at this. Now watch the ball. And that's exactly how he wanted to throw it and wear it. Now look at the roll on the back end over end. A solid 9, and the head of one of the pins as it went by into the pit kicked the 9 pin forward. Never should have happened to begin with. The ball was thrown so well. Then it ended up being a good break for Scotty, and Marshall's thinking, oh, he got lucky again.
And Holman has just asked for the re-rack and got that at 6. Here it is.
And have you noticed after each time that Scotty got some sort of a break, for example, the crossover strike, Marshall went up and got the big split. This time he kicked the 9 pin forward, Marshall again gets the big split. It affects him emotionally, and it's a shame because that talent is just obviously just tremendous.
Holman now finds himself down by 18, even just a moment ago. And Devers working on a double, and he will bowl in the 7th. But here is Holman now in the 7th.
You always, when you're bowling a player like Marshall, especially Marshall Holman, you look to see what he's capable of striking out and shooting. Right now, 230. You figure he's going to shoot 230. And that's how you plan your game. You plan
Probably
your game,
good advice.
You plan your game based on what Marshall's capable of shooting if he strikes out, because there's a good chance he's going to do it.
He won the '85 Kodak Championship here. So he's trying to win as he continues to be very animated, trying to win for the second time in 3 years here. Career earnings, as you see, for Scott. He's got a chance to double his career earnings if he wins it all here today. Now Scotty heating up. That's 3 in a row for him, and he's up by 28.
And what a great, great shot. He's showing so much poise, Jay.
Marshall Holman and Scott Devers in this Kodak Invitational. And Devers strikes again.
A lot of poise from a guy that's just getting really acclimated to bowling in front of a national television audience and against one of the greatest players of all time, Marshall Holman. But again, the match isn't over. Devers going at a 228 pace. Marshall can still bowl 230.
Always talking to himself. Sometimes I wonder if he understands what he's talking about, because he really does get heated up.
Oh boy, does he ever.
Did he ask for a re-rack? He did not.
He did ask for a re-rack, and they unfortunately re-racked the wrong lane. So Marshall's going to take a break and wait for him to do it on the lane he wants it.
Oh, all right.
A little confusion with the back end there, the mechanics.
Next Saturday, I hope you'll join us in Indianapolis, the Woodland Bowl, the $200,000 prize for a perfect game. And with another strike.
And still in a match.
It's 3 in a row.
Scotty Devers really has his fate in his own hands at this point, Jay. If he strikes here, he'll be going at a 238 pace. He will need any kind of a mark then in the 10th frame to lock up the match. If he doesn't strike here, he'll need a double in the 10th to lock up the match.
He doubled in the 10th to win his first title in Tucson this year. Bingo!
Bingo it is. Now all he needs is any kind of a spare with a decent count, and we have a champion. Strikes, he's a winner.
There it goes, and he is the champion. Scotty Devers winning his second PBA title and the $27,000 first prize. Marshall Holman finishes second. The PBA Fall Tour has been sponsored by Kodak Batteries, the official batteries of the 1988 Olympics. Go for the gold. By Brunswick, proud sponsor of Team USA and supporter of bowling in the Olympics.
The center where we're bowling on today's TV pair is in the high end of the center. The scores have been higher at this end than they have the other end, but the most important thing to think about in the lane conditions is that they change so drastically and so quickly. The oil carries down very quickly. It makes it very difficult for the players to carry the corner pins. We should see a lot of 10 pins and 4 pins today.
And Earl, we've got a most interesting first match this afternoon. Two young people with a lot of pressure.
Mike Taylor and Randy Harvey, and it will be Taylor to get things underway. 5'8", 160 pounds, qualifying 5th. 214.9 this week. His first career appearance in the TV finals since he joined the tour full-time this year. And he is looking down there at a 4-pin.
And this is just what we talked about earlier, Jay. The players are going to leave a lot of 10 pins and 4 pins. The key to bowling well on the lane condition today, as you watch Mr. Taylor's ball go just a little high on the head pin, the key is to get the ball well down the lane and still try to create a good roll on the back end. They can't play the first part of the lane, the first 15 feet, very well. They have to almost throw it over that part.
Taylor, the Californian, converting, and you get your first look at Randy Harvey. Randy, as we mentioned at the top of the program, from South Bend, Indiana, qualifying 4th.
One of 2 left-handers on the telecast today, he and Big Steve Cook. Watch the way Randy gets the ball well out on the lane, well over the head area, first part of the lane.
And a 7-pin. This is the 4th consecutive year that at least one left-hander has appeared in the TV finals here.
Now watch Randy, watch him get to the foul line. He'll stand up very tall at the foul line, get the ball well out over the lane. You see that?